Welcome! ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Wednesday, the 13th of September. Good to have you aboard. We are part of the Believe Podcast Network and always presented by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. If you're involved in any kind of an accident, hit and run, motorcycle, boating, slip and fall, I send you to word that you're going to get the money you deserve while being treated like family, just like I was at the very start of ZASLOW Show 2.0 almost a year ago. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. That's right, now that I say it, been doing ZASLOW Show 2.0 for about 10 and a half months now. I think the anniversary, we should do like a big anniversary show. I don't know what that means, but the anniversary of ZASLOW Show 2.0, the year anniversary, end of October. I think it was like the day before Halloween that I started. Almost a year ago now, my last day on terrestrial radio. So we've had this thing going for almost a year here. And of course, a huge thanks to all my sponsors. I love you guys. You're the lifeblood of the show. And of course, ZASLOW Show 2.0 fans, can't do it without you. Keep telling your friends, keep telling your family. I love it. We got a fun show planned today. We're going to welcome aboard Stugotz on ZASLOW Show 2.0. Dan Le Batard's show with Stugotz. Stugotz is on the show today. Got to get his reaction to Aaron Rodgers. Excuse me. To Aaron Rodgers, the Jets, and revel in a little bit of Stugotz's misery. All right? Look, Stugotz is our friend, but we got to get him on and hear how he's handling the Aaron Rodgers situation. I will say, though, I don't know that I'm going to bring this up to him, but when we say we're going to revel in Stugotz's misery, so this is going back like about 19 years ago. Yeah, right? So about 19 years ago, I guess it was the 2004 Major League Baseball playoffs. That year, 2004 baseball playoffs, Boston and St. Louis, right? Yeah, I believe so. And Boston, that's the year they ended the curse. They won the World Series. But the NLCS that year, Cardinals and Mets. So we know how that ended, obviously. I just gave it away. Spoiler. Well, going into that postseason, and you got to understand, so this is October. I've known Stugotz just a couple months now. I was hired right before 790 Ticket went on air. I was an original employee there from start to finish, all right? And I made a bet with Stugotz. So at that point, my God, it's so weird to think about it like this. 19 years ago, he was mid-30s. Like, Stugotz was significantly younger than I am right now. So I was a kid, all right? And we're having some fun, and I made a bet with him. You know, if we're talking about sports fan misery, right? That's what I'm doing here. And so I remember making a bet with him about that the Mets would not make the World Series. Mets had super high expectations that year, and so we made a bet. It was some kind of dinner. So Game 7, and I hate the Mets. Game 7, NLCS, Mets and Cardinals. The game's at Shea Stadium, and we're watching the game at the bar. Me, my wife, and Stugotz. We're watching the game, the three of us, at the bar at Capitol Grill, all right? And he's obviously very into it. I'm joking the whole time. I'm rooting for the Cardinals. And if you remember the way the game ended, Adam Wainwright at that point was young and just a closer. Still with the Cardinals. Sucks now, but still with the Cardinals. And in the 8th inning, a very young Yadier Molina, who never hit home runs at that point and was not an offensive player whatsoever. Yadier Molina hits a 2-run homer, I think to make it 3-2. It was to give the Cardinals the lead. Wainwright comes in, closes the game in the 9th, and that was the game where the game ended with the bat on Beltran's shoulder, staring at strike 3. And with the way the game ended, in the top of the 9th, I believe it was, when Molina hit the home run, and then the bottom of the 9th with Beltran, bat on the shoulder, I won the bet with Stugotz, but I did not enjoy winning that bet. I felt really bad for my friend. Now, we had just been friends. We just knew each other for a couple months now, but I really liked, I really liked Stugotz. And so I did not feel good for winning that bet. I did not like being there with him in that moment. I did not like seeing him sad like that. So I guess sometimes, now of course I did make him pay up for the bet. Let's not get stupid. But I think the point is, you know, the Aaron Rodgers thing goes down on Monday, and I do feel bad for people that I like Stu Gatz, who love the, you know, even if you hate that team, you don't like your friend being miserable over what took place. Like yesterday, the basis of ZASLOW Show 2.0 yesterday was Dolphin fan does not have to feel bad for being okay with what happened to the Jets on Monday night. I don't think you should be happy that Aaron Rodgers got hurt, but the Dolphin fan does not have to feel bad for liking that the Jets season is now over. You do not have to apologize for that. The end result, however you're going to get it, you want the Dolphins to win the division. And if someone were to say to you at the end of the year, oh, but that's only because Aaron Rodgers got hurt, I would laugh in your face. Like, I would laugh uncontrollably in your face. So, you do not have to apologize for that. But we'll get Stu Gatz on the show today. We'll talk about the Jets. We'll talk about what happened, how he experienced Monday night. I don't feel bad for the Jets. I don't feel bad in general for the Jet fan. But my friend who's a Jet fan, I do feel bad for him that the biggest storyline in the NFL, over. Now, as far as the Dolphins go, so I gave my ZASLOW Show 2.0 Week 2 power rankings. You know I love a good power ranking. And you can go back and listen to yesterday's episode wherever you get your podcasts. We did our power rankings yesterday. I won't spoil it for you, but I will tell you the Dolphins were the only AFC team in this week's power rankings. Top 5. I do top 5 power rankings. Everybody knows that. The Dolphins were my only team from the AFC in the power rankings. And think about that. We know, or at least we expect, the AFC to be a lot stronger than the NFC. But after week number 1, the Dolphins had the best week 1 of any AFC team, right? I don't think you could dispute that. I mean, go look right now. Go look at the week that the Dolphins had compared to the week that the other contenders in the conference had. Just look at the AFCs. I mean, okay, so the Jets are, you can only look at teams that won, obviously. Teams that are 1-0. Team that's 0-1 didn't have a better week than the Dolphins. Jets, it doesn't matter if Jets are 1-0. They did not have a better week than the Dolphins. The Cleveland Browns, did they have a better week than the Dolphins? I mean, they're super happy, of course. Kicked the shit out of the Bengals, but their win wasn't as, like, Dolphins were a lot more impressive than the Browns. Ravens are 1-0. Ravens beat the Texans by 2 touchdowns, but I don't think anyone was pleased with the Ravens' offensive performance. Jacksonville, they won at Indianapolis. I think Jacksonville is very pleased, but you're more impressed with what the Dolphins did. And in the AFC West, Vegas was the only winner there. Vegas just gets past Denver. We know Denver sucks. Dolphins had a better week than Denver. Right now, the Dolphins are the best team in the AFC. Now, is Kansas City going to wind up being better? Maybe. But right now, Kansas City's 0-1. The Dolphins are the top team in the AFC right now. So that's also going to bring us today. We're going to talk to Stu Gatz. After we talk to Stu Gatz, it's Wednesday, so it's back. Every Wednesday, you know, we do good times and hard times, Daddy, where we tell you which fan bases right now are experiencing good times and which fan bases are experiencing hard times, Daddy. You know we're going to do that. So that's coming up after we talk to Stu Gatz. So this morning, I appreciate the guys up in Toronto, TSN 1050. That's the ESPN affiliate up in Toronto. And I made an appearance on TSN 1050 in Toronto this morning. And so, you know, they had me on there, want to talk about Dolphins and what have you. And obviously, I told them Tua's better than Josh Allen. So I had a fun appearance with those guys. But the most fun part about the appearance, see, let me tell you something. They decided to bring up the Florida Panthers to me. I didn't know they were going to do that, but that's okay. I love the Florida Panthers. Everybody knows I love the Florida Panthers. How about this now remember, I'm on in Toronto. How about this for a balls move? I straight up told them, Matthew Tkachuk, best American-born player in the National Hockey League. How about that? And of course, Austin Matthews, they're Toronto. They're not going to like hearing that. Look, keep it real, keep it don't. I'm on in Toronto. I'm going to tell you Matthew Tkachuk is the best American-born player in the National Hockey League. That's how we got to roll. Hey, that takes a pair to do that in Toronto, right? That's hardcore. That's how I roll. Keep it real, keep it don't. Matthew Tkachuk, I got to represent the Panthers and Matthew Tkachuk if I'm on in Toronto. You want me to come on the show? That's part of the package. I'm going to tell you about Matthew Tkachuk being better than Austin Matthews. That's all there is to it. And if you don't buy it, hey, go back and look at what happened in the playoffs. Tkachuk, unbelievable playoff performer. Austin Matthews, he was a ghost that whole series. Now, to be fair, I don't think Tkachuk scored a goal that series. But still, Panthers took that ass in 5 games. So anyway, I tweeted out a link there. You can go back and listen. But I run Toronto now, all right? But I enjoyed going on with those guys. Anyway, before we get to Stugatz here, so I want to mention, you know what? Okay, so let's do this first. Guys, I want to make sure, I saw someone post on Facebook earlier today about how their insurance rates for their automobile totally spiked. And so what do? I obviously recommend Brunt Insurance. Now, I've been getting my homeowner's insurance from Brunt Insurance for about 10 years now. I'm super happy because not only do I get the most comprehensive coverage anywhere, but I'm also getting the most affordable rates. But that goes for your car as well, your motorcycle, your boat, wherever you're calling from in the state of Florida, from Pensacola all the way down to the Keys. When you call Brunt Insurance at 954-589-2204 or go to bruntinsurance.com, they have offices all throughout the state of Florida. So wherever you're calling from, they know your area. They know what type of coverage you need. Do you need this? Do you need that? Do you need flood insurance? Maybe you don't. I don't know. There's a million options out there as far as what kind of insurance you can get. There's so many offers, it's going to make you crazy. Don't worry. When you call Brunt Insurance, 954-589-2204, Greg Brunt and his team, they have the expertise and the experience. They specialize in making all the confusing options crystal clear. They're fully licensed team at Brunt Insurance. They're going to lead you every step of the way. And like I told you, I get my homeowner's insurance through Brunt Insurance. But if you're looking for that affordable care and the best coverage on your car, your motorcycle, your boat, you made the right call. 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com. So, I don't know if you saw this awful story out there, but sometimes you can't avoid it. So, and I I'm in a good mood today. I woke up this morning and I own Toronto. So I don't want to bring up stuff that pisses me off. But sometimes sometimes you got to bring up the bad shit. All right. We know how that goes. And the bad shit right now is Kevin Porter Jr. So who is Kevin Porter Jr.? Good question, because he's a fucking loser. Who is Kevin Porter Jr.? Kevin Porter Jr. plays basketball for the Houston Rockets. Now, he's had troubles all throughout his young career. He's been in the league for like 4 or 5 years. He was a first-round pick, slid all the way in the draft because of issues at USC, was drafted by the Cavs. They straight up got rid of him. They dumped him in his second year. The Rockets picked him up, and going into this season, signed a big extension, like $80 million or something. And he was, I think he's been charged. He has been and arrested. I mean, he's out on bail, obviously. Yeah, so he's been charged. He has been charged, I don't know what the charge is, some type of assault, but he allegedly, gotta say allegedly, right? He allegedly beat the shit out of his girlfriend, who is a former WNBA player, apparently. They were in a hotel room. And as more and more details come out, the details are more and more disturbing, where he started beating her up in her sleep, apparently, and ended up breaking one of her vertebrae in her neck. And the beating only stopped when she escaped the hotel room and was running down the hallway covered in blood. So, it would seem, because I'm sure videos eventually going to come out of her in the hallway and whatnot. And yes, while Adam Silver is an especially soft commissioner, and the players run that league, and we're going to get to that, it would seem that Kevin Porter Jr.'s career could be over. Now I say could instead of should or definitely be over because we just saw Miles Bridges, who was suspended and is now able to return to the Hornets this year. He is back in the league. Kevin Porter Jr. breaks this girl's vertebrae in her neck. Beats the shit out of her while she's sleeping, which, if you ask me, if you start beating someone up in their sleep like that and you crack their vertebrae, that sounds like attempted murder. No? What is that if it's not attempted murder? It's certainly not self-defense. Anyway, here's the big problem that I have. Outside of the biggest problem being any man who beats up a woman. But my big problem here is, has a single NBA player come out and said something about Kevin Porter Jr. beating the shit out of this girl? Because the NBA player loves speaking up about social issues, which they should. The NBA player loves talking about how great the WNBA is and supporting women. Has a single player come out and said something about Kevin Porter Jr. beating the shit out of a woman? For a league that is always trying to get you to support women, and in the WNBA, and for a league that loves talking about social issues, and by the way, for a league whose union, and remember, LeBron spoke very loud about this with the Robert Sarver stuff, where LeBron very succinctly and correctly said, there is no place in our league for this type of behavior. Referencing Robert Sarver, the racial things that he said, and the way that a hostile workplace environment, sexual harassment maybe, the way that he treated people in the organization. LeBron very astutely said there is no place in our sport for this type of behavior. There should be a zero tolerance. Has a single player come out and said that there should be zero tolerance for one of their coworkers who beats up women? Has any player said anything? Or is it only zero tolerance when an owner does something you don't like? Players can beat up women. I mean, it happened with Miles Bridges. LeBron's on the side of the court yucking it up with Miles Bridges while he's attending a Laker game during his suspension. Has a single player said anything about another player beating up women and how there should be zero tolerance in the sport for that? Or is it only when an owner says something racially charged? That there's no tolerance for in our sport. If you say something racially charged, you got to get out of the sport. But if you're a player and you beat up women, we'll look the other way. Now listen, it's not a competition. It's not a competition. I don't want to sit here and say one thing is worse than the other. I'm totally on the side of, owners who are going to speak this way, who are going to use racially charged terms like what's going on in the NFL, right? Get rid of that owner. You got owners who are using racial epithets, owners who are treating workers sexual harassment, bad workplace. Get the fuck rid of them. Get out of here. I don't want to make it a competition about which one's worse. But for my sensibilities, owners who use racially charged or racially insensitive verbiage versus men who beat up women. I'm on the side of men beating up women being worse. Again, not a competition. Both should not be anywhere near the NBA. But for me, I do feel like one is a little bit worse than the other. Can a single player come out and say, can we stop beating up women in our league? They all get so quiet. It's so hypocritical. And that's why, and I know, look, our country is super divided politically. The President Trump, this, that. Our country is really fucked. It is. And I dig the players coming out and standing up for social issues. But when you stand up for the social issues and then you have no problem with one of your own beating up women, all those people out there who hate how you stand up for all the social issues, who want you to shut up and dribble, who want to keep all that stuff out of their sports, you just give them more ammo to throw at you about being hypocritical and about being phony. Can a single NBA player come out and say, Kevin Porter, get the hell out of the NBA? You beat up women, it's not allowed in our league. That type of behavior needs to be frowned upon by the players if it's not just the owners. If the owners behave poorly, get out of here. If a player behaves poorly, how about get out of here? And none of them say anything. They say nothing. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I'm over it, man. I'm tired of it. It comes off so unlikable. They don't say anything. I don't get it. It's terrible. All right. I had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry. I didn't want to take such a turn to Serious Town, but I had to say so. All right. Before we get to Stugatz here, let's get to something great. All right. If you haven't had a taste of Sheets and Giggles, and when I say taste, I mean if you haven't tried Sheets and Giggles. I've been telling you about Sheets and Giggles here for months now. One of the great sponsors on ZASLOW Show 2.0. And I love Sheets and Giggles because besides that, you're getting the best sleep of your life. You're getting your bed sheets at the best price out there. And my man Colin, founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles, he's making sure that the environment is getting taken care of when they're making these sheets for us to have the best sleep of our lives. Sheets and Giggles, you're never going to shop anywhere else than sheetsgiggles.com. Naturally softer, cooler, more breathable sheets. It's the best comfort I've ever had in my life. I sleep on a eucalyptus pillow. Do you know a koala sleeps on a eucalyptus tree up to 18 hours a day? Can you imagine how comfortable you are when you're sleeping on a eucalyptus mattress? Go to sheetsgiggles.com. Use promo code ZASLOW at checkout. You'll get 20% off your first order. And with the Dolphins win the other day, use promo code FINSUP at checkout. 36% off your order. My man Colin loves the Dolphins. 36% off your order when you use the promo code FINSUP. It should have been 37%. You could blame Jason Sanders for that one extra percent. 36% off. Use promo code FINSUP at checkout. Get the best sleep of your life. SheetsGiggles.com.